If you're not using Zotero to manage your citations, I can pretty much guarantee you're doing way too much work to add them into your paper. Today, I want to talk about why you might want to use Zotero, how you can get started, and some of the really cool things that it does. Let's get into it. Zotero is a free citation manager, and it was recommended by one of the professors in one of my courses. And ever since I started using it, I've been hooked because it does so much more than give you citations that you can copy and paste into your paper. It allows you to organize your research and keep track of highlights. And then when it comes time to put the citations and the bibliography into your paper, it's just very easy to click and update, and it just handles it all for you. So let's go to their website and check out how easy it is to get started. So I'm here on the Zotero website, and right up at the top, there's a download button. Zotero, I'm on a Mac, but it is available for so many different platforms. And you just go here and you click to download. And while you're at it, I recommend installing the connector for your browser. And we'll talk about that a little later, and how it allows you to basically find a study and just click and add it. It's so, so cool. I've already downloaded Zotero, so the next step is to drag it to install, at least on the Mac. Which should be familiar to you if you have used a Mac before. So when you first install Zotero, you'll see this window with 3 panes. And when I first got started, I was a little bit confused about where do I begin? What do I do? There is a quick start guide, and they are very great about walking you through things. But I just want to show you because it's actually a lot easier. You don't need to overthink how to get going on this. So here's my library on the left. On the library, we have folders that you set up, any kind of organization. And so I'm going to start by saying, I'm going to add a new collection, and I'll just call this my class. Now, I, over time, built up a folder structure within Zotero where I had folders for each of my classes and then folders for individual papers, because a lot of times the topics were separate and I wanted to keep my research separate. You can really organize it however works best for you. I recommend at minimum having a folder for each class just so that you can keep things sort of organized. But the great thing about Zotero is that you can copy all of your resources from one class or from one folder to another, and you can have different collections that have some of the same items, and it really helps you organize however you like to organize your materials. So I've created my class, and just to show you how simple it can be, I have a couple of papers over here on the desktop that are things that I want to look into. So I'm doing a little research about how adult learners stay with classes, what makes them choose to drop out, things like that. So I have a couple papers that I've looked for, and I'm just going to drag the PDFs right in. And it processes them. Now, it tells you now you can do Zotero syncing. If you're using multiple devices, like, say, a laptop and an iPad or a work computer, home computer, that kind of thing, syncing is something you might want to do. For now, I'll just close that. But you can see it's added these resources that I had. And in the info, it gives all the information it's going to need for the citations. And if it doesn't include it, I can add it manually. So here's the PDF, and I can click to open it, and I can see the authors there. And it looks like it might not have gotten the authors in this case. Oh, it did get the authors. Okay, great. But I can include any kind of information such as the URL, anything that you think you need to add to your citation. It pulls out a lot of it, though. And that is super important because it takes away the agony of having to manually dig up all this information. You can just kind of spot check, and when you get the results, you can fuss with them if you need to. Now I want to show you how super cool the browser extension is, because there's so many times when I have like 10 tabs open. I'm looking at all these different articles and I'm trying to decide which ones to save. And it's just a lot of times easier to create a whole pile of them and then review them later. And so when you are on a page for an article that you want to keep, you can go up to your extension and use the Zotero connector, and it will automatically save it to the most recent folder that you use, so whichever class you're working on. And it sometimes takes a second. You can also click done. And then you go over to Zotero, and there it is. It's right there for you to read, for you to mark up. It's saved the PDF for you. So now let's talk about working with the research that you've got. Say you've built up this library, you've either dragged in PDFs, you've used their web extension to add them, you have this file of papers that you're going to work with. There are so many options in Zotero for highlighting, making notes, things like that. So if I wanted to highlight this, I can just select it and highlight. And then if I look in this, there's a little sidebar toggle right there. If I look in the sidebar, I can find the things that I've highlighted. So it's a great way of keeping track of your research. You can highlight, you can make notes. They'll all show up in the sidebar and then you can find them later. So the cool part comes when you're writing your paper, because you can really seamlessly integrate your quotes and citations into your paper. And this works in both Word, Google Docs. I think there are other formats, but I primarily use it in Google Docs because that's my preference, and that's what I'll show you. So I have my note that I've made, and I'm just going to add this into my paper. Whoops, I got to click on it. There we go. So I'm taking a chunk of a quote. For the purpose of this example, it doesn't quite matter. So I have my paper here. I'm going to paste it in. And now I want to add the citation. And to do that, I use this little Z thing in the toolbar to add and edit the citation. So Zotero will think a little bit, and it usually zones in on the document that you have open, but it can find other documents in case you had it open and then you're juggling windows and all that. So that is the one I want to add. So I click on it, click return, and it adds the citation in. Now, this is a dynamic citation, so it will update when I update other information. If I take it out, it'll remove it from the bibliography. It's really flexible like that. I can also reference something even if I haven't copy and pasted the quote. So the author of this study, and then I'm going to add a citation, and I'm going to put in this other paper that I was looking at. And click OK. And now it's added that citation in. Now, the real power is when it comes time to build your references page, you can go up to this Zotero link, not the little Z, but it's this big one at the top that says Zotero, and edit the bibliography. And it'll think, sometimes it takes a second, and it will add your citations. Now, it looks like one of those might be missing some info, and I really recommend when you're submitting your papers, just double check all of your citations and modify it as needed. But it usually gets a lot of the information correct on the first try. Your bibliography is right there. So this is a real seamless, simple way to keep track of your research. You can drag in PDFs or you can get them from the web. You can highlight them and note them and use it to kind of keep track of all of this research that you're doing. And then when you're building your paper, it adds the citations for you. So you're no longer copy, pasting, dealing with links, maybe using generators one at a time. It's a free app, so if you haven't given it a shot, I really recommend it. It will speed up your paper writing process, even if it takes a little bit to get used to it and to set things up. I truly recommend it for all students who are doing more than 1 or 2 or 3 citations per paper. I should have started using it for my bachelor's degree. I didn't actually start using it until my master's degree because I didn't know it was available, but I recommend you get in the practice of using it as early as possible. If you have any questions about using Zotero or managing citations for your paper, leave them in the comments. And I'll also leave a link in the description to my online school blueprint that will help you if you're trying to decide whether going back to school is right for you and how to find that program that is the perfect fit. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.